Okay, so lesson 101 is dealing with factorable denominators. So last week you learned about lesson 100. I hope you did. And that was about rounding. So I felt like you guys could do that one. This one is about factorable denominators, and the whole point of factoring denominators is so that you can add and subtract those fractions, okay? So that's the idea. All right, so here's our first example from your practice section of your book. It has 9x over x squared minus 4x minus 21 minus 7 over 7, or x minus 7. So we have to start to notice things as factors. And so since these denominators are not the same, we need to get common denominators. And the way we do that is to factor the denominator if possible. And so since we're just learning this, they're all going to be pretty possible. Okay. All right. So we factor in gray. Here I have 9x over x minus 7 times x plus 3 minus, and then 7 over x minus 7. Okay, so that's the factor part. Now the next step is to get a common denominator. So that's where the orange comes in. All right, so we notice that there's a x minus 7 in both, but there's not an x plus 3 in both. So that's where we need to add that in over here. All right, so I went ahead and put parentheses around this x minus 7 to keep that as a unit. And then we went ahead and multiplied the numerator and the denominator by x plus 3, okay? Because that's what gives me my common denominator, okay? Next step is to simplify the numerator. So I just put my common denominator in the denominator spot, x minus 7, x plus 3. And then the numerator becomes 9x, minus, because you've got the minus, 7, got the 7, x minus 3, okay? So I just kind of rewrite the numerators all kind of in one numerator and the denominator over that common one. And then I go ahead and simplify. So in my numerator, it becomes 9x minus, and then I distribute. Maybe I should show you what I did there. Let me change because I can't draw my right or my left. So I distribute that negative 7 to that parentheses. So I end up with negative 7x minus 21 over x minus 7, x plus 3, okay? And then that becomes, excuse me, after I simplify my numerator, 2x minus 21 times x minus 7, x plus 3. Okay, so look at that, and we'll do one more example. Okay. Excuse me. Now in B, in gray, goodness, I must have swallowed something incorrectly. All right, so I need to factor. Okay, so that first fraction I factor, and it gives me, in blue here, it gives me x minus 9, x minus 1. Okay, and my second fraction, I notice I can't really factor in the traditional way, but I factor it using the common factor, which none of you should forget. Most of us forget, but always look to see if there's something common in each one of those, and there's a common x. So I put out the x in front, and then I have x minus 1. So I look at my blue denominators, and I notice the differences. Okay, there's no x on this side, on my left side, and there's no x minus 9 on this side. So I have to include those. So I do an x on the denominator and the numerator over on my left side. On my right side, I include x minus 9, x minus 9. Okay. Then I go ahead and simplify those numerators. Okay. So I just wrote it again. I'm not really sure why I did that. This step is just kind of cleaning up my work over there. All right. Then what I do is I write everything over my one denominator, which I have, and then my numerator, I combine it. So 4x minus 5 times x minus 9. All right. Then I go ahead and distribute that negative 5x. Don't forget the negative, people. So many people do. Don't do that. Negative 5 to x becomes negative 5x. Negative 5 to negative 9 becomes positive 45. Over, and then my factored piece. And I hope I didn't mention this in the other example, but we always leave our denominators factored. It's just good math form. So always do that. You don't need to multiply that all out. It's hard, it's time consuming, and actually it's not helpful. When you get into Algebra 2, we're going to need those factored so that we can simplify further. All right, so 4x minus 5x is negative x plus 45 over my factored x minus 9, x minus 1. Now, for any people who are feeling the urge to cancel the x and the x, resist that. This numerator, that x is not a factor. I cannot cancel it. It is with the 45, okay? So I cannot cancel it, so it has to stay like that. All right, friends, I know that's a lot. There are 4 lessons this week, but you've got this, okay? Definitely email questions if you have any, and you guys are doing really great. Okay, keep working hard. If you have not turned things into me, tests, your parents haven't told me that you did your problems, and I'll email reminders, but make sure that you're doing that so that your grades are staying accurate. All right. Have a great week. Bye.